The podcast you are listening to of Holmberg's Morning Sickness is brought to you by my friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Trust me on this one. You've had barbecue before, but you haven't had it this good. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale, ericsfamilybbq.com.
Eric's Family Barbecue has arrived and is simply the best barbecue in Arizona. Come satisfy your taste buds with meats that are smoked over mesquite wood and sides that are made with fresh ingredients and tons of love. They have the best, juiciest brisket, pulled pork, rib sausage, turkey, or everyone's favorite, the Pitmaster sampler that includes all the meat and 4 sides, mac and cheese, potato salad, coleslaw, corn, or beans, yum. And for dessert, try some creamy banana pudding, amazing. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meat, mesquite, repeat. Make the trip, you won't be sorry. Dine in or take it to go. Go to ericsfamilybbq.com for more info.
Holmberg's Morning Sickness.
The old method of treatment for a person in this condition was to throw him in jail.
98 KUPD.
Can I catch a ride with you? That would be better than trying to mobilize you.
What time you looking at?
I got to mobilize
On
you.
or about 11?
On or about 11. So I asked Reggie, and he didn't show up until almost 10 at night. Oh, you meant 11 light. I'm not coming over for that. Anyway, it's silly. I'm having a great time with this because, again, it's corporate stuff. They're fine. They're listening right now, too. They're all over us. They're like, what are they doing? Like, what's this asshole up to? And it's fine. I like all of the people that I've dealt with so far. I like Greg a lot. I don't know a couple of the other people, but they're all just scrambling like that because that's all they've got to do. Let's be honest. Once you get into the position of suit, you make busy work, and then you run around and act like you're trying to launch a space shuttle. They got a little contest here, and that's all they're thinking about. So they're hands-on, they're active, they're making phone calls. Their day is full for the first time in years, rather than looking at like whether or not the last research said "In the Air Tonight" by Phones is a good song. That's really all they do. Otherwise, they look at it says here in the Air Tonight's no longer a good song. My research says that it used to be a good song, now it's not a good song, and it's always going to be a great song. It's whether or not you've played it too much. Well, it says here we may have made it a bad song. And now the new good song is Where the Streets Have No Name, where 30 days ago, that was a bad song. And that's what they do all day. And now they've got their hands in this contest, and they're screaming and running around like they've got some new toy. And they're busy, so it makes their boss look at them like, wow, they're really working hard. That's what we're doing here. We're just keeping the suits mobile. We're mobilizing the suits, really.
Yeah.
Suits. They're funny. They're all adorable, little Hummel characters. Like you just put them on your shelf and be like, I think you're all so sweet and adorable. We can fire you. I know that's but you're not going to. And if you do, I'll go somewhere else and kick your ass with new suits. That's all. So go ahead. You keep it up, buddy.
There's suits everywhere.
There's suits all over the place. You make friends with the new suits, and then you're their new toy, and all they're doing is running around pleasing. You make your current suits angry, and they threaten to let you go. Okay. I ain't scared. It's fun. I am scared of this, though. I felt so bad for this lady, and then I didn't. Listen to this story. This was last night's news, and I was like, oh, come on. And the news starts it off with, like, it's this poor woman scorned by love, Brady, scorned by love. A lady didn't want to be identified, of course. She's obviously staying anonymous in this. But she got bilked out of her savings of $60,000 when a man named William she met online claimed that she had love at first swipe with William. That's right.
Ooh,
You heard
I
me.
like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I knew you would.
It's a good pun. Brady thinks it's great.
Yeah.
Love at first swipe was the deal. And William was the man for her. Her husband had passed away. The very first man she spoke to that wasn't a relative or a friend already after her husband was William online. So she jumped online and started this relationship. Said he was very loving, very sweet, compassionate. I thought this could be my second chapter in life. So off the bat, you're like, all right, this lady feels she's back on her feet after a tragedy in her life, her husband passing away. 4-month relationship, daily phone calls. William then says to her, hey, I got a little problem over here, and I'm no scam artist. Let me send you pictures of my bank account statements. So he fires over a couple of pictures, and she's like, oh, my God, he is loaded. And he goes, the reason I send that is because I'm on, and this is where you start losing me, an Alaskan oil rig, and I can't get to a branch. So I need this money forwarded to me so it goes right into the account because I can't do this, but I need this done. And she says, looking back on it, I feel a little foolish. because he made me basically homeless with this request, and I that's where I had to say, he didn't do that. You did.
That's on you.
You basically made yourself homeless, and that's a terrible thing. It happens to a lot of people. The Federal Trade Commission reports 2020 broke records with romance scams. How much money do you think women and men sent to people they've never met?
Oh, I saw it one time.
What do you think the number is? Last year's was the record. How much money? You figure she's $60,000. How much money do you think Americans send out without ever having met someone?
$970 million.
Holy cow, you're a little high. So I'll go. He's too high, Bob. You're going to get to flip the cards.
I'm going to go $5 million.
$304 million.
It's up there.
Was sent from people who just don't know.
Those are the ones
that's stupid. That's why I was like $5 million.
And that's the entire. You've met.
Grand,
you were at Hooters the other night. You've met the general public.
Oh,
They're susceptible to this.
John, those are the ones that admit it. Those are the ones that are complaining that I got
forward.
I got bilked.
Very
That's
true. Your
true,
number's
too.
probably more
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
You're probably closer to $1
It's
billion.
going on right now.
With the people who could afford it. The ones who couldn't afford it are
They
the
don't
ones
realize it.
Oh, $304 million. Reported. That's very true. Wow. In online love scams.
First of all, the guy
Crazy.
said it happens every time. Works in Alaska or whatever.
He's in an oil rig in Alaska.
Yeah, you
doing
never trust a rigger. Because they built people
right,
out of it.
Brady. That's why you're not supposed to call him that. It's not a nice thing to say, and you're just doing it for him. Don't do that. It's not even a thing. It's just not even a thing, but he thinks it's a slur.
No, it is.
No, it's not.
It's not.
I'm going to watch Winnie the Pooh with you. But yeah, I just can't. I can't imagine having somebody go, yeah, well, if on an oil rig.
Yeah.
And you've got access through whatever.
He's got way too much downtime.
What do you
these guys are working like
Well, here's
crazy.
the thing. If you've got enough money to send the bank accounts and say, look, my bank accounts are clean, I'm good for it. I need you to fill that bank account with more money. I can't get to a branch, but I need you to do that. Doesn't even make sense. If I said to you, Brady, you know I'm good for it. Put $60,000 in my account. I can't go to the bank today. You're like, why? Your first question is like, why?
Yeah.
Well, I need that $60,000. For what? You've got all this money. Well, I can't get to a branch. Well, then you can't get to a branch to get the $60,000 I put in either. It's just dumb. Love. And you know what the problem with it is those things you read to little girls that you think are good, which are fairy tales.
Prince Charming,
the knight, the white knight on the back of the horse, and all that stuff. You got, those are the things that make girls think the most dangerous phrase in the world. He's the one. This is the one. Dangerous moments are he's my.
There's been numerous
knight in shining
they
armor.
do spy work in order that he's a undercover work
he's
and
a
they
spy.
need this money to.
Those are on Dr. Phil sometimes.
Yeah.
I like those. But yeah, just the message out there is keep an eye on Grandma. If she's got a new boyfriend on the internet, first off, Grandma's not good at the internet. I don't care how savvy and smart you think your grandma is. She's bad at the internet. She's also a sitting duck on the internet. And her phone. You shouldn't let her have internet access without help. They're just like kids. If Grandma is, and also she's emotionally unstable from the passing of her husband. So you can't trust her with this stuff. This is ridiculous.
Give her a phone with just 4 numbers on it. Here's who you can
And
call.
if she starts programming other numbers, you go in and look and go, who is Craig? He's an oil rigger. Watch it. He's an oil rigger who loves me. He's the second chapter of. All right, Neil Simon, let's calm down with chapter 2 over here. Have you met him? No, but send him money periodically. That one lady sent money to your former Ohio State quarterback to the tune of like $1.8 million. Arch Schleister. Because he was down and out, but he's like, and she could look him up. He is a quarterback from Ohio. He's just dead broke because he was a gambling machine.
Yeah.
And she read the thing about his gambling. He's like, look, I'm not. I'm doing really well. He'd send her fake things about where his money is. He just need a little help with this. You want to invest on these houses with me? Yeah. So you start pouring that money over. Everybody can get scammed in a bad investment. But if it's love, never invest in love. That's something your mom will never tell you.
So worth it.
Teach Kirby that. Never invest in love. If someone you love has a business opportunity, stay far away from it. It's either a scam or you're ending that relationship. That's all there is to it. Going in business with family, woof.
How about love is not an investment? necessarily.
How about just,
know.
Not a financial.
Yeah, financially.
Yeah, well, don't give anybody you love that kind of cash.
People are so stupid.
People are stupid.
swear.
But how bad is that?
Yeah.
How bad? I mean, I'm on an oil rig. I need $60,000. For what? And you just throw it in the account. Here's the numbers.
Okay. He trusted me enough with his bank number, so I should be trusted enough to give him that money.
Wait a minute. None of this works out for you, dummy. And there she was on the news, and she filed a report with Scottsdale police, and they're like, you got it. And then, closed it immediately. We're not even looking into this. This is just a stupid thing. I got scammed on those Super Bowl tickets. You know why? Blinded by love. My Steelers playing in Dallas against the Packers.
We got them for you, bud.
I see right there online the great price, and I'm like, it's not far off, but it's good. They got a diagram of the stadium where you're going to be sitting. I'm like, this is fantastic. So what do you got to do? You go over there to that Western Union, and you wire us the money. And I'm like, that's a deal. And I'm like, oh, no. After I'm like, wait a minute. Nobody Western Union's money unless they're up to no good or paying their druggy cousin money to get out of a jam.
Yeah, you wired the money, and the guy's like, well, my shift on the rig gets off at 8,
Right.
and I'll bring the tickets over.
He was very busy in England. He was a rigger in England. I didn't know they had oil there, but they do. But, yeah, so it was terrible. But what did I do right after? I got grumpy, and then I got mad at myself. I called the cops. I'm like, is there anything you can do? There's nothing you can really do here. You can call for a scam police thing that they've got, but he said there's so much of it we will never get to it. And it was an amount I could afford to lose and still feel stupid and know that it hurt a little bit, but
Stung.
It didn't break me.
You weren't homeless.
Weren't homeless.
Just the principle, just the whole scam.
I wanted to get
the
somebody,
worst.
and then they goofed and accidentally emailed me, and the email said, "How do I get my cut of this?" I was still included on the group. And I said, whoops, looks like you forgot one guy on your group email. I said, good. And I'm like, good work, boys, good work. Because then I found that they were in England and all that. And I was like, okay, so just want to let you know you got me. Excellent, well played. I said, but this little goof here just gave me access back to your emails. So I will report this. Nothing happened.
They've been drawn and quartered.
Yeah, nothing happened to them. And hopefully they were shot in some sort of a street battle or stabbed in England. They probably have a knife problem. They do have a big knife problem. Yeah. Hopefully one of those Middle Easterners that Londoners are so angry that live there stabbed this guy in the heart, and it hurt. And
some pikeys got him.
Twisted. Maybe some pikeys took him off and lit him on fire. That's all I can hope for as a decent person, is that this guy's death was quick after my incident, but, painful. That's all you can hope for when you're scammed, is the person that scammed you meets their doom at the front end of a Chevy. That's it. And it hurts. I'd rather have them be crippled and internally decapitated where they have to sit and think about it for a second. Those kind of things. That's what I wish for, Brady. Maybe violently raped over and over and over while they're dying. Those are the only things you can hope for on scammies. I'm not one of those, gosh, I forgive you. I'm not that. Scams.
The stat on that, prince from South Africa.
Oh, yeah.
The deposit.
The Nigerian guy?
Yeah.
Can't imagine how many. And that one doesn't make sense that anyone would have fallen for that.
Right.
The numbers are huge. Why did you randomly choose me for a $10 million payoff?
And in order to get the money, we need you to...
Got to send him money.
We need you to set up an account and put some money in.
Yeah, it's got to have $10,000 in it to start. You're like, well, I got $10 million for this. But we've met the general public, and they're dumb, Brett.
Oh, yeah.
So, in fact, you're the worst one I've ever seen. Matthias came to me the other day and goes, this guy... He just hands it over. All I have to do is just be present. So she's actually taken it off the internet and gone right into your house. You're married to the best scam I've ever seen. She has no business. She doesn't like you at all. So she's training you for all your overnight cash. It's going to be a long haul.
Well, how do you think I made it this far nights with those overnight wages all these years?
In a way, we could do this. And that,
I was a rigger up in Alaska,
That's right. I could rig. I think I could talk the language of a roughneck, an Alaskan roughneck. Anyway, don't fall for it, ladies. And I assume it's mostly ladies, because although we get pretty lovelorn and stupid, too. I had a person I was talking to recently that told me that they were willing to send money to a girl who was down and out to get her out of this thing because he liked her. And I'm like, bad idea, Jeans. Don't do that. If it gets her to a better place, and I'm like, no. It leaves you behind. It might get her to a better place, but it leaves you behind.
You need to get serviced a couple of times.
Absolutely. You must
make some other kind of deposits.
Brady, would you ever give anybody $60,000 who says they love you without having first tasted their jennies?
No.
No way. You got to give that a swipe. What if that thing smells like a fish hatchery by the time you meet her and you're like, $60,000 and time, and I didn't realize that this person has a hygiene issue.
Or it looks like the St. Bernard with a fish in its mouth or
Oh,
something.
God, yeah. It's an Audi and it's hanging down and you could tie it together and put fruit in it and carry it around a farmer's market because it's like a basket down there. How many kids have you had? None. What the hell's that thing hanging out so far for? Give me my money back. Or like my cousin, fantastic story. She met a guy online. He's Scottish. Evidently super sweet. I've never met him. Talked to him once, but like never really actually
Has she met him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just make
They're
sure
married.
it's not one of those.
They got married before they met.
What?
Yeah. First time they ever were in the same room together was at their wedding.
No.
As far as I understand it. But the funny thing was, well, I mean, he sent her pictures. She wasn't surprised by it, but he had a surgery where I'm not kidding, where his neck was removed.
I saw that.
Yeah, I've shown you pictures of this. It doesn't look human. It doesn't look right.
It looks like Brian Urlacher or something with no neck.
It's way beyond that.
Really?
It's like, they're like no neck. Like it's just sitting.
Fully turtled.
His shoulders are up past his ears, just in resting position.
No.
Oh, yeah. It looks like a uncut penis. Only the body is the shaft. Now, he's supposedly a wonderful person. But, it's kind of hard to get past. And then he chose giant collars for their wedding. And I was like, oh, this is hilarious. But very nice. Doesn't mean you can't be a nice guy. I don't know him well. But she did that whole online thing. And everybody was warning her, like, be careful. This is dangerous. Like, he's in another country. You guys are in love online. And
it's kind of fun. You have to look
It
out
works.
behind you. He has to turn all the way around.
You have to spin him like a top. He doesn't like walking off of walls. He just kind of scoots down walls. He doesn't like behind you. But yeah, so I mean, it turns out that one worked. And he was willing to move from Scotland to a place called Mount Jewett, Pennsylvania, which is like a dump. I don't know why. And that makes it red flags everywhere. Like
it was brigging for him.
It was great. He found it. He was the happiest necklace man I've ever seen. No, actually the only necklace man I've ever seen, but still. So I, as a wedding gift, got them some necklaces. And his is draped around. It goes through his mustache. It's pretty nice.
Thought you could say turtlenecks.
But it works. Well, turtlenecks would have been a good idea, too. Yeah, here, it's cold up there in the winter here. Why'd you get me that turtleneck, John? You know, I don't have anywhere to put the top half of that sweater. I just put it over your eyes and stuff and cut little holes out, and you look like Dumb Donald from Fat Albert.
And it worked out pretty good during the pandemic. A turtleneck is a mask. And
that's worked out great for me. All I have to do is button the top button, and I've got a mask on. I wear a lot of dress shirts for that very reason. But yeah, it worked out for them. And every single ounce of every human being's like, please be careful. This is bad. No, we're getting married. And then, it permeated through the family. Like, did you hear? This is a scam. Not a scam.
Legit.
Legit.
He brought curry to Mount Jewett.
Those are the dangerous things that come from that, is that a few of them are real, and it gives hope to the others. These desperate and lonely people.
Hey, even a clock is right twice a day.
Thank you. That's your dad talking. I think you just... that was a Geico commercial that just happened. Well, live, laugh, love. That's what I always say. Anyway, yeah, so be careful out there if you're on the internet and you're in love and you haven't met them. You have to... A Holmberg rule, if you haven't tasted their jennies, they don't get any of your money. Yeah. You'll take them on a date face-to-face. That's different. But if you've never met them and they want money... You have
straight up money. Yep.
I need a taste of those jennies first, or else there's no cash going from bank account to bank account.
You got to test drive beforehand. You never buy a car without test driving it.
That's exactly right. You got to kick the tires, and you have to kick a woman before you ever give her any cash. And ladies, kick a man before you give him cash.
I think the difference is that most men will admit to getting bilked, but
Absolutely.
you know they're out there
it's
too.
happening. Big. Women are the bilkers.
Oh yeah,
they're good at it. We are under their spell. And usually it's older ladies who are emotionally upset, or, bigger ones who are like 9 cats and realize that at age 36 it ain't happening. And they don't go out because they're afraid, they're insecure, and they're worried about going out anymore. So they're like, the internet, I'll find my crooked lid for this crooked pot. And then they find trouble. That's why I would never want to meet someone from online. I just assume they're going to steal your kidneys. I don't want to, hey, I met this girl online and we're going to meet for the first time. I'm like, this is a bad idea. Taste their jennies. Even then, it's like a 10% chance they get any cash. But if 5 figures right off the bat, no thanks. You should rig a little harder up there and earn your money. It's good stuff. But, yeah, what a story. And it's all about love. It's the danger of the Harlequin romance.
2 or 3 times a year these stories come out.
The big ones.
Yeah.
Well, every major city's got 2 or 3 a year, at least, that we know about. But, and so she'll start a GoFundMe, and people will give her money. And, again, I won't go to your GoFundMe and give you money unless I can taste your Jennies first. And they have to be attractive Jennies. That's the first thing. That's why I've never understood that catfish thing. If somebody sends me a picture of a model, in this day and age, send me a video of you saying, hey, John, it's me. And then show me what you are. You don't have to send me a picture of you on the beach. That's model shots. Anybody can do that.
So you grew up in Dateland? You're beautiful.
Yeah, I want a timestamp on it. I want watermarks. I want all sorts of stuff to prove that is a brand new photo of you right now. People, you got to be smarter than this.
John, thank you. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and you just taught me a valuable lesson not to teach her. Tell her, don't tell her phrases like he's the one, Prince Charming.
That's exactly right. Don't read her those horrible books that I've said that for years. That was even before the woke cult got hold of them. The worst thing you do to a little girl is tell her that some perfect guy's going to show up, and you'll know in your heart that he's the one for you. No, you won't. You never know that. That is never a thing. That is not a thing. You never know. The one you think is the one that will be standing in a place called the plaintiff's box eventually, and you're trying to and you'll be saying stuff like, hey, the one, are you kidding me? That's my car. I get the car. Oh, the one is such an asshole now. She's the one, all right, the one I want to kill. Be careful with that phrase, because there isn't just a the one. You have 4 or 5 the ones, and then the one you settle on. That's true. The one that drives you, it's men and women, the one that drives you the least crazy will remain the one until that
one is working.
Plays. Yeah, this one is currently the one. And I like this one. And this one might last and then at the end when you're dying, you're like, you were the one. Then you can say it, but don't feel it immediately. Also tell that little 4-year-old girl, hey, kid, you can be in England or a crack whore. Same rules apply. Don't give anybody cash until you taste their Jennies. That 4-year-old will look at it and go, what? And she's like, just keep that in your back pocket. Ask questions when you're 12, but you'll know what I'm talking about. And then one of those days you'll be like, oh, that's what Mom meant back in preschool.
The guy holding the sign right now. Need money for food.
No, Jennies. Brady, you can meet him. You're taking it too far. You're taking it too far. That I can. He's tangible. Talking about people you've never met.
If I'm handing out money, I'm tasting.
All right. Well, you're handing out far too much to the homeless on the side of the road. The other day, I'm driving on. I'm getting off of the 51 on Glendale, and a homeless guy's walking up and down. He's got the basics, vet, this, that. He's got a bottle of water, and I don't give anybody anything unless it's water or food. And I'm watching people hand him cash, right? And he's like, it's God bless on the thing. He takes a sip of his water and shakes. There's a little left. Puts the cap back on it. Over the fence on freeway.
Jeez.
And I try to, it's a light screen. I'm like, you asshole. I'm scared. Like, yeah. I'm like, can you imagine a water bottle smacking you in the, it's terrifying. And it had some water in it too. He just chucked it over the fence, right onto the 51.
Lousy day of collection.
I guess, but I mean, you're not doing yourself any, that's bad branding.
Man, there is one, the most formal setup I've ever seen on collecting money. They're in the corner. It's on Val Vista and Lindsay. There's a Mormon church there. It's a couple with their baby. They got a blanket out on the grass. It's because of beautiful lawn.
Sure, Mormon begging.
Yeah, and they had the baby in the chair, and she had the sign, and he had it going. And at first, it looks like, it's a picnic. No, they're there.
Their babies
I want to know
in
what they made.
Do you think anybody gave them money?
Oh, yeah, they got jacked because of that kid.
Imagine that corner.
Stop that. Yeah, because, you're playing on the Mormon.
Yep.
Yes.
And the worst part is I fall for it when guys out there with the sign and they got a dog out there with them.
I've given full bags of dog food.
Oh, really?
I'll give them dog food. I won't give the guy anything.
They stepped it up with the infant. And then I looked back and I'm like, that's a decent minivan in the parking lot when they're.
We Lost Our Home Pet, the shelter that I go to on Thursdays and do the Lost Our Home pick of the litter. By the way, it's Astrid this week, that cat that won't stop staring into your eyes. It's the cutest cat I've ever been around. They do a thing where they'll actually I don't know how many of the pick of the litters have been people who had a dog and they were on the streets, and people call in and say this can't be a thing anymore because you can clearly see the guy or the girl is just not stable enough to care for another living thing.
Yeah,
and they'll go and swipe it, which is
really?
The dog doesn't know different.
Yeah.
The dog is like, that's my guy. This is what we do. He doesn't know that he's missing out on a home and stuff. But then they end up in great houses. There's a couple of them. I've gotten the pictures and said, yeah, it was a rescue from a homeless situation where a guy was on the streets, hair and all that. Now, a lot of times they'll take him and hold him for that person and say, you get better, you can have your dog back. But it's terrible. I do the same thing. I see the dog and I'm like, oh. And then I was riding my bike once and a guy in this beautiful red-nosed tri-pit dog. Oh, it's the cutest dog. And he's sitting on this blanket. It's 114 degrees in the sky. And I'm like, hey, you got to get this dog out of the sun, man. Mind your business. I'm like, it's too hot. And I go down to pet it, and this thing just goes vicious on me in a second. I'm like, all right, fine. You and your dog can die out here. This is horrifying. The thing is mean. And so you can't have that on the streets. Horrible. I was going to be all nice and try to take him home, but it's 6:15. Let's get a wake-up song, shall we? In just a few minutes, we'll start giving hints out for the word that'll come up at 7 o'clock. I hope you guys are smart because you got to figure this out today. Not allowed to give it to you early anymore. So we'll find ways around that. Give us the wake-up song, and we'll scream it together. It's 98 KUPD. Wake up!
Hey, it's not weird. It's pretty cool, actually. No membership fee.
I have heard enough.
KUPD.
You've been listening to Holmberg's Morning Sickness Podcast, brought to you by our friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Eric'sFamilyBBQ.com.